Hi, this is Sarah the Stitchin Mommy, and it's Monday, March 11th, and I'm here for a weekly stitching update, and so is Cinnamon. First, I wanted to share, I got Color and Cotton's February threads of the month, and of course, I opened it up and I'm like, oh, they're so pretty. I love her threads. They're just the perfect tonal variations, and I'm sure there'll be lots of things I'll find to do with them, especially... Alright, Kitty. I like this brown. There's going to be, that we'll find, I think I'll be able to use that in a lot of things. And then that is called Caramel Brownie, which makes me love it even more. And Holland Blue, which is really pretty. Pardon the garbage cans outside. Lucky, which is a nice minty green. And Banana, which is pretty accurate. It's in light pale yellow, and I know a lot of like these Joyful World Sal projects, which if you haven't heard of them, they're from Snowflower Diaries, and they're, let's see, there we go, and they're free on her blog, so I'll link that below. I did those a couple years ago, or a year ago, or something. This year I just get to change them out every month, and it's really easy and nice. But they called for a light yellow periodically to be like the center of flowers, and I just used DMC because it seemed a waste of a fancy floss to buy a fancy floss just for a couple stitches here and there, but now I've got something for patterns that call for a light yellow somewhere, so that's fun. And Peony is the bright, pretty pink. So that's really pretty. Thank you, Angela. I always enjoy getting those every month, and I have recently changed to the prepaid option that I just noticed was available, where you pay for a whole month up front, and it's a slight discount off of the cost of the threads, and then it also is a discount on shipping because your upfront charge is more than the cost of her free shipping. I'm making a botch of this trying to put these back in this bag. And then you don't have to pay a shipping charge every month either. So it's overall, over the course of the year, it was a really good savings. So I went ahead and canceled the official monthly subscription and joined the prepaid yearly subscription, which I'll have to, it does not automatically renew, so I'll have to go back in next February, I guess, and buy a new one, if she's still doing that. Because, of course, I'm going to keep doing that. I'm often tempted to do her Fabric of the Month Club as well because her fabrics are gorgeous. But that's a little bit too expensive for the amount of discretionary money that I have. And I figured like I did at Black Friday, I just bought the fabrics that I knew would go with specific projects. So I think I'll just continue to do that. And if a project I'm kitting up really needs some hand-dyed fabric, I'll probably check her shop first. And other than that, like, I have lots of solid fabrics from other places, so I'll probably check my stash first, and then if I feel like I need to buy something that's not readily available at a craft store, I'll probably check Color and Cotton first, because her fabrics are really, really pretty. And of course, I'm gonna probably have to start at least one or two of the things I have kitted up on her fabrics in the coming year, because, you know, you got to. So something else I had realized this past week, I got to thinking, I'm not sure what brought it to my mind, but I got to thinking about the Lavender and Lace Celtic Ladies, which a lot of you have seen. And I thought, I've got those. Belinda, Aussie Stitcher, gave them to me because she realized she was never going to stitch them and asked me if I wanted them. And at first I was thinking no, because I've already got the Mirabilia Fancy Ladies, and then I thought, you know what, I could maybe do a collage of parts of them and put that together and do it. And so I realized I didn't show those in my Fancy Lady Parade that I did, I guess, a week and a half ago. And so I went hunting for them and almost thought I had lost them. I checked where I thought they would be first and didn't see them, and then I looked everywhere else and still didn't find them and was a little nervous, and then finally went back to the original spot and looked a little harder and finally found them. So they are found, and I have started to play around with ideas for how I want to stitch them. So I have all 4 of the Celtic seasons: summer, autumn, winter, and spring. And these were a gift from Belinda Aussie Stitcher, and I have plans for who I am going to gift them to when I'm done. So stay tuned for that whenever I'm done with this. When I first started playing around with it this week, my first thought was kind of like the way this basket especially falls really low. Because my original thought was I was just going to do headshots, and I could maybe still do that. But I like the baskets and stuff too. So this one is low. Summer doesn't have anything right here. Winter's is just a puff, so that's pretty high. But spring has also got this trailing ribbon. So both of those kind of made me think, well, maybe I should do a longer chunk of the lady than I had originally been planning. And my first thought was to do basically this whole top portion of the pattern in a quadrant style. And I was really excited about that. I found fabric that would work. I'm deciding to do this lamb's wool linen that I got from Shelly Key X Stitch. It's probably originally from Hobby Lobby, and she found it on sale and passed it off to me because she's not really a fan of linen. Then it occurred to me that this would fit really well in an 8x10 frame, so I could just stitch them separately and rotate them through the frame every season like I do these, and my Fancy Ladies get rotated through on the wall, my Big Fancy Ladies by Mirabilia. I'll just do that. So then I got really excited about that. This piece of fabric is plenty big to allow margins for 4 smaller pieces. And then a day or two later I realized the whole point of doing a collage is to not have as much stitching. And this still involves a lot of stitching with all these borders. And so I went back to the drawing board and thought of I had an idea for what could be good for a collage with portions of the border, but not all of it. And the way these ladies are facing, what I think I'm going to do is do it more of a circular order. So it'll be winter, and then it will go next to spring, because they're facing, I dropped winter, because they're facing each other, and then I'll go down to summer. We'll get this. And then over to autumn. So I'm going to do them like this, so they can be facing each other, and I don't have to try to flip the patterns. So they'll be like this in the collage. Man, these are slippery. So they'll be like that. And I'm going to take just the top chunk of the lady, and I'm going to take some portions of the border, but I was even rethinking this morning of reducing the border even more than I had originally. Like, I even plotted out in my software, my charting software. No, Katie, that's not for you. On like Thursday, I charted out a good chunk, maybe it was Friday, a good chunk of the top outlines of the borders, just because I figured I knew what I wanted. And then this morning I'm thinking, no, that's probably going to be too busy. So I don't know. I'm still in the process of sorting that out. When I have it sorted out completely, I will show you a mock-up of what I'm thinking. I'm probably going to end up charting it all out in my software and working from that chart, because I'm changing enough of the pattern in the order things are in that it would be really confusing to try to work from the originals and get it all to line up right. So I will chart everything together and have a mock-up for you eventually. So that's in the works, and that would be fun to start in the new year, along with everything else I want to start in the new year. So we'll see how that goes. Meanwhile, I can share what I've been doing. Oh yeah, one other thing that I did that wasn't stitching was my Simpsons piece. I got a chance to chart some more of it. So this is what this one looks like, and I've mentioned before, I got this on eBay a while back. The seller is no longer on eBay, and the quality of the printout is horrible. Really hard to work with. The ink smudges, so you have to be careful not to get it on your fabric, for one, and then the symbols rub off. There's no 10 by 10 grid. There's no overlapping symbols from page to page. A lot of the symbols match each other, like they're the hourglasses with one half full, and it's this way, and then this way, and then this way, and then this way, and all right next to each other. So it's really hard to read for many different reasons. So I'm recharting it in my own software, and line by line, I'm taking a 10 by 10 grid with my... Here, I'll show you a portion of the chart that I've adjusted. I drew lines on the chart with a pen, and then I'm taking 10 by 10. I have another paper, and I'm going literally like this. And then I will, obviously, I'm not charting the background because I'm not going to stitch that, but on the regular part of the chart, I'm charting all these symbols, and then I'll move down, chart all those symbols, and move down, chart all those symbols, and eventually I'll mark off the square. And that's how I'm doing the entire chart. It's tedious, but in the long run, it's going to make this project so much nicer, and I'll actually want to work on it. So I made a good amount of progress on this, I think on Tuesday. So even though I was not able to stitch on this project this month, I think that is... Sorry. You don't want to see cat butt. That's progress on that project, even though I didn't get stitching in. Getting the chart finished, I think, is where my focus is going to be for the next little while, because I want that done and just off my plate, and know I can just pick it up and stitch however I want to stitch. Currently I'm doing cross country. I've been toying with maybe doing parking, but cross country might be the best way, because there's a lot of confetti on the outlines, and then the center areas is filled in because it's from a drawing, so it's very easy just to fill in the center. So that's where that is. I also did a little bit of diamond painting yesterday with my son, and gave me the itch to finish up another column because I got about half done with my column. So it's not ready to show yet, but I may want to work on that a little bit more in the next few days, so we'll see about that. Where I left you last time, I was working on Waterfall in Yosemite and feeling the pull to work on Midsummer Roses instead. So what I did is, I think I had maybe not yet started this. Yeah. I worked on Midsummer Roses, which is my oldest WIP. I worked on that instead of The Simpsons on the 1st because my husband was home on the 1st. And then on Sunday, I worked on Midsummer Roses again instead of starting this for this rotation because I was just really into it and I wanted to get to a good stopping point. So instead, I worked on this the 4th, 5th, and 6th. I did put roses down and work on this because I wanted to get a page finish. And there's something to be said for meeting a goal to make you happy to put it away. I'd gotten to a good stopping point on Midsummer Roses, so it was natural to... It felt good to go back and get to a good stopping point on this one before going back to Roses. So I was happy with that. This is what Waterfall looked like last time. And here it is now. And I got my page finish. So it's the top row originally had been my goal for my golden kite rotation before moving on to another piece. But now I believe I'm going to move on to another piece next month, and then I might come back to this whatever month after I meet my goal on that piece, and then move on to a third piece, and then come back to this to finish the last page, because I do want to finish this top row this year at least, and maybe move into the bottom page before the end of the year so that all that parking can get cleaned up. And I may continue parking in the rocky bits since it's more confetti heavy than the sky. So we'll see how that goes, but happy with how I got on this. It's touching. The bits are touching. And this, in case you see, I did get some pen on This is the pen I was using for parking. And at some point along the way, this was like a year ago, I got pen on there, but I'll stitch over it, so I don't really care. Yeah, so happy with being able to get a page finish on that, and I am content with putting it away for a little while. It will come back out again. But I want to stitch what I love. I want to enjoy what I'm stitching, and I like variety. I have too many whips, but I have a lot. And I love them all. So I don't want to like focus so much on certain ones that other ones get more neglect than they should. So after that, I worked on my S Furry for one day on the 7th. It's by Nora Corbett. And she gets worked on once a month, one day every month. And it's fun to pull her out every month and give her some love. This is the right one. This is what she looked like last time. And here she is now. So really happy again with what I got done on her. She's on 32 count Rosewater Lugana by Color and Cotton. And I picked up this darkest burgundy and stitched that throughout the rest of the S here. And then was able to finish backstitching the wing in Krynic, and then I could backstitch her little wispy tail and then add all these beads. So that's what I did on the 7th. So now there's the rest of the proper S, and then there's another little curly Q and like a little flower thing with beads. So that's what's next. To keep moving along on that. So that will actually, I think, go pretty quickly because this S moves quickly. So next time I'll pick up probably these colors here and move them and stitch them throughout the S, and then I'll work on that little flower dealy bob that's in there. So this one, potentially, I would think could get finished this year, because even working on it one day a month, it's going pretty quick. So that would be fun to have that finished. And then I like having these daily pieces because it gives me progress on certain things that may not normally get priority. And so when I finish that, which is for me, I'll have to pick another piece, possibly Knitting Woman by Golden Kite, because that's going to go to my mom. So that's this one, which is the other Golden Kite. I think I'm going to finish this page next month. I'll bring that out and finish the page. But that might be my next daily piece that replaces my Nora Corbett Fairy. So we'll see about that. And next I brought back Midsummer Roses again by Paula Vaughn. And pretty happy. Trying to think what I was going to say. Pretty happy with where I got on that one. I worked on it for 3 days and finished 3 of the 5 colors of leaves in that they have. There's 5 colors in the leaves, and I finished 3 of the colors. So this is what it looked like last time. And here it is now. So I am really happy with that. It's coming together quite a bit. And I'll zoom in. There's lots of fractionals. And I am stitching this on 14 count Aida. So it is possible to do fractionals on Aida. The needle I have feels sharper than a normal tapestry needle. So I'm not exactly sure what kind of needle it is. But it might be just a fat sewing needle. Or maybe a crewel needle. I'm not really sure. Because it's slightly sharper than a normal tapestry, but it's still kind of big, like a size 24 needle would be in the eye. So that makes it easy to puncture the Aida, since it's a little sharper. So I am really happy with that. This is going to come back out at the end of the month, and what I was thinking, like, this is a focus. I want to get this done before too long, maybe even another month or two. My upcoming plans, I have Adventure Awaits for 3 days this week, and then I had Furry Animals, which my Heaven and Earth Designs focus, for 6 days, and then I had Stargazer for 6 days and Midsummer Roses for 3. And I've already, that was going to be, those last 3 days was going to be the only time I got on this in March. And already I have worked on this for 5 days because I hijacked Simpsons and 4 days of Waterfall to work on this instead. Which gives this, what I decided to do is I would take a day off of Furry Animals and take a day off of Stargazer, so they would only get 5 each. And then Midsummer Roses will get 5 at the end of the month, so then a total of 10 in March. And what I thought going forward to also get this finished, and even when this is done, I'm thinking I'll do 9 to 10 focus days, depending on if it's a 30 or 31 day month. I can choose whichever project I really, really want to get a finish on, give it 9 to 10 days, possibly broken up throughout the month, like 5 at the beginning and 5 at the end, or in the middle, or wherever. And then 4 on my Golden Kite, 4 on my Hade, 4 on my Mira, 3 on another random project, and then the 6 for the daily pieces. And if my focus piece is a Golden Kite, Hade, or Mira, then I can, one of those other 4 categories will be something else, but 4-day categories. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm going to trim down the other ones and beef up one particular one just to try to get more finishes. Because I know at the beginning of the year I said I didn't want that many finishes this year because I don't want to get the itch to start things. But at the moment I'm really feeling the itch to finish. And really that's probably the best thing I could do with this year of no starts, is finish as many things as I can. And I know a lot of my things are enormous and not anywhere near finishing, but there are things that are started and could be finished. They're either things that I have had forever and need to get done, or they're things that I started just because it looked fun and why not, and then that's one more whip that just probably doesn't even need to be there, like the tea and cake salad. It just looked fun, and it wasn't necessarily something I would normally stitch, but now it's a whip. So I figured I'll go ahead and finish up some of those smaller ones and just get them done and off my whip count so that in 2020, oh, pardon me. No, kitty, it's okay. So that in 2020 I can have some starts and not feel so bad about adding to my whip count. So there is Midsummer Roses now, and so I'll give this another 5 days. My goal is to finish the other 2 colors of leaves, and then I will fill in any other background bits as well as the wall, and then start back stitching. So a lot of jibber jabber about that one, so a little bit long-winded today, I guess. Here's the lid. And let's see, so that's all I worked on for my main rotation things, and then I also worked on July by the Little House Needleworks and got that finished. So this is what it looked like before, and here it is now, all done with its border complete. So I think I had everything but that last pink border done, so that's all finished. This is on 28 count Dove Gray Monaco 1/1. So that's done, and instead of moving on to August like I might normally do, I have been working on Adventure Awaits by the Caterpillar Cross Stitch because I want to get that done this month also. That would be nice if I could get that done. I'm planning to give this 3 days. Not today. Today is the 11th, which is when I'm going to work on my aunt's piece, but starting tomorrow, I'll give this 3 days of focused in-house time as well. So, or not in-house, but it will be in my house, but focused regular stitching time. This week, I will probably have a customer order to work on, which will take me at least a week, maybe a little longer, to stitch. So that I'm hoping to give a good chunk during the day of work stitching, so that I can still have an evening time at least to do something on my projects. So I'm hoping my projects won't completely fall by the wayside this week while I'm working on a customer project. So hopefully that'll work out well. This is Caterpillar Cross Stitch by The Adventure Awaits. This was a mystery sal last year, and I kind of got I got stalled out after right before the last clue because of finishing Snow Queen last year, and so this is what this looked like before. I'm back at it, ready to finish this now. Here's where it's at now. Not a ton of progress, but some. So let's see, I finished the light green all around, and there's a little bit in here, a little bit in here, as well as the outline of the land masses, and then I am starting in on this light tealy blue color. And so I'll finish that color. I like to color complete. So what I will be doing, I will continue to have this in the car for a travel piece during the valet line all week, as well as at home on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So ideally that will be enough to get this finished, so we will see. I had on Friday, my son had an orthodontist appointment, and I like to stitch when I go in with him for that. And I usually work on my cute little Little House Needleworks because they're nice and small. This one is kind of bulky. It sticks out. It's 8.5 by 11 already. You know, it's like a full-sized thing, and so I didn't want to take that to the orthodontist. I figure once I get that out and stitching, it's wide, it's bulky. Usually I start stitching in the waiting room and they call him back and we walk back there, so I'm just holding my fabric while we walk back there, and then I sit on the little chair near him and keep stitching. So that was going to be too big for that. So I didn't want to necessarily go start August because I figured once I start it again, I'm going to want to keep working on it. So I moved over instead to Hoot by the Bent Creek, which is the one I'm doing for my daughter's kindergarten teacher. I need this done by, I think, the second week of May for Teacher Appreciation Week. It should be really fast. I started it just the letter K last year to make it be a start before No Start 2019. And so I figured this one is fairly small, and the fabric is a little wider than the bag, but it does fit in here, and it's something I need to be working on, which will probably be, it might be my new travel piece when Adventure Awaits is over. At the very least, I'm going to work on it next month during my main chunk for my other category. So this is what that looked like last time, which is just the letter K. And here's how far I got while I was in the orthodontist. A few more letters. And I realized when I got in there, I worked on the L, and then, because I had cut my thread so that I wouldn't have any trailing between the letters. So I had a loose thread. I did the letter L, and I was thinking, well, I'll be really careful and not trail again, even though it's only 2 stitches. It is an even weave, so I thought I'll just trail it again. Oh, cut it and not trail it. Then I realized I'd forgotten my scissors at home because they were in my Caterpillar Cross Stitch package. So I didn't have any scissors with me, so I figured, well, all right, I'll just keep going. So I didn't cut this. There's a trailing thread back there, but it's a thick enough fabric. I think it'll be fine. It won't matter. And then I moved up. This is going to be an F, I think, right here. And the letters are 2 different colors. There's a few in here that are tealy, and then these Hoot ones are much different. I'm doing a complete overhaul of the colors in this one just to use up what I have. So I've got a nice variety here of flosses that I'm using. So I'm really excited about that. Ah! Don't want to lose that. So I've got some Victorian Motto, Weeks Dye Works, Color and Cotton, Classic Color Works. So lots of things, just whatever I had that I felt like fit. And I was tempted to go back through and like looked through some of the newer ones that I've received since I made the conversion and figured, nah, I'll just stick with what I've already figured out, and it's already pretty, and just leave it at that. So all my other flosses will get love eventually, so that's that one. No plans to work on that in the near future, but I may pull it out when Caterpillar Cross Stitch is finished. So just because I want to make sure it's done in time to frame and gift before Teacher Appreciation Week. I don't want to be rushing at the last minute, which happens, but you know, it's better if it doesn't. Okay, some other things I worked on this week were my temperature balloons and my temperature quilts. These are charts that I have in my Etsy shop. This is the first one. I am mostly caught up with this, except for, I am stitching on them every other day, so I'm like 2 squares behind on this one, but mostly caught up. And I hopefully showed you a picture where it was before. This is where it is now. These are on light blue MCG Textiles even weave, 28 count, 1/1. So the shape of the boxes and the order of the stitching is slightly different from balloon to balloon, so that's a new one. It's a little more zigzaggy for this one. And then my quilt, I got caught up. I did not work on it yesterday when I was supposed to because I had another Etsy order I was working on, and I really wanted to get that worked on. And I worked on my diamond painting with my son. It was a busy day. Not as busy as it was going to be, but I ended up still choosing to work on Midsummer Roses to get that color finished instead of the temperature quilt. So it's slightly more behind than it should be, but mostly caught up. So this is what the temperature quilt looks like. You can also find that in my shop. This is what it looked like before. And here it is now. I got February finished and started in on March, and I got some more of the sashing done. I got a little bit more of this sashing done as well because I had some time. This has been my in-house stitching piece because it does take a little bit longer than the balloons, and I've got Caterpillar Cross Stitch in my bag for the car already, so I figured I'll just work on, if I don't have any blocks to do, it's nice to just pick some of my fresh wool by Color and Cotton, which is the one I'm doing on my sashing, and just do a little bit of that if I'm listening to a book or American Ninja Warrior or whatever we're doing, you know, as a family. Then I can get going on that sashing as well. But now I have a few extra blocks to do too, so gotta get on that. Today I believe is a balloon day, so I'll work on the balloon today and get back to the sashing, the quilt tomorrow. Most of the time it works out well to do it every other day like that. So, and I'm not getting too far behind. And then I guess that's on to plans. Today is the 11th, so I'll be working on Quick Stitch Iris by Heaven and Earth Designs. This is my first Haid that I ever bought in 2002. No, 2006. 2006, and I started it 2/1 on 25 count and was never working on it. Recently, like a year ago maybe, I restarted it 1/1 on 25 count, and I like it a lot better. And I'm working on it for my aunt because she loves irises, so whenever it's finished, she does not know I'm working on it. Whenever it's finished, I will give it to her. So here is where I'm at now. Last month I worked on this flower, which had a lot of confetti. And I don't know, Mondays can be hit and miss because of editing the video and everything. And if I have that customer order come through, I might start working on that. So I was hoping this time I can get most of this column finished because it's a lot more solid. This had a lot of confetti, but this is only a few colors. So I'm hoping that I can finish this column today, or diagonal column, and be able to start back up here next month. So this is really fun. The stitches are very smooth and even in the confetti areas. I'm really enjoying this. I'm stitching basically cross country throughout the diagonal, and then I'm parking in the next diagonal or wherever else where it appears next. So that's how I'm working that one. I do a variety of different methods with my full coverage depending on the piece, so feel free to change it up yourself if you. Some pieces work better with certain methods than others, and sometimes I've got more than one method on the same piece, and that's fine too. It'll get to the same place in the end eventually. So then I have my, whoa, my cat just got spooked and ran up the stairs like a wild cat. My next rotation will be 5 days now on, 5 days on Furry Animals. So I'll still be working on this when I come back next week. I'll start this on Thursday, I believe. Friday. I'll start this on Friday. Start working on it. This is where I'm at now. And this would be lovely to finish this year also. So hopefully I can get a good amount done in the next, in this 5-day rotation. I don't anticipate being able to finish it because, you know, a lot of colors are confetti. And there's only a lot of color changes, even though there's a good amount stitched already. It always takes me longer than I think it will. So I don't want to have a grandiose goal and then be disappointed. So it's looking amazing. I'm really excited about it. So hopefully I can make some good progress on that this month. And I think that's the end of my pile. So I think that's all I have to show you this time. I'm really excited about getting things finished right now. That seems to be my goal. And so far I have not been actually finishing things. It's been focusing on finishing. So I'm hoping that once these things start getting finished, that I won't have the startitis bug, because that would be bad. Not bad, but I really would like to not start anything and just focus on finishing. So I'm hoping the finishing fever will continue, and if I finish something, I'll just get the bug to finish another thing, and then a bug to finish another thing, and just keep going with that, and keep focusing on things, and rotate the other fun things that are not close to a finish, but are still fun to work on, and then have one or two that I'm kind of working on finishing. So that's kind of my feelings at the moment, and I hope you're enjoying what you're stitching, however you're going about that, and I hope to see you next week. In the meantime, happy stitching. Talk to you later. Bye.